What? What's going on, guys? Joe McCall here. As we are, bam, finally, we're live. Hey, hope you're doing well. Today is my deals call. I know I apologize, those of you that are waiting for me about 15, 20 minutes ago. I can't get my hat straight. Sorry for being late. I had something come up and I had to go. And yeah, it's my daughter's birthday today. We're doing some things to get ready for that. So hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing awesome. All my goal today is mainly just to look at the deals you guys have submitted in advance. There's 4 deals from Alex, Tim, John, and John that I'm going to look at here. And if you're part of my inner circle, I will actually review your deals once a week on our deals calls. Normally I do these on Mondays at, I forget the time, but I was out of town, so we're doing it today. And see, anything else I want to say about that? No, I think, no. Flipping dirt, baby. I think I mentioned this before too. About a week ago, we closed on a vacant land flip. In other words, we bought it. A couple weeks later, we sold it. Oh, I know what I should talk about. Yes, South Carolina. And this relates to what I'm going to tell you about this deal we just did. South Carolina, they just passed a law in the state legislature that wholesaling is illegal, immoral, and fattening, and you can't do it anymore there. Well, surprise, surprise. We've been talking about this for a long time. Nothing new. Do not freak out. It's going to be okay. Now, a lot of states, Illinois kind of started this a few years ago. I think South Carolina maybe is the 5th or 6th state to make it official in the books. It's illegal to wholesale properties without a license. Okay. Oh my gosh, what are you going to do about it? Number one, just relax. It's going to be okay. People are still wholesaling deals in Illinois. They're still wholesaling deals in Oklahoma. And they're still going to be wholesaling deals in South Carolina. I don't forget what the other states are. But if it's not one of your states that you're doing deals in, or the state that you live in, it's going to be soon. It's coming. It's happening. And it will be in your state as well. So what do you do about it? Well, number one, I've always taught this from the beginning of time. Well, my time, right? Whenever you wholesale a property, you need to have 2 things, the intent and the means to close on the deal. The intent means you actually do intend to buy the property when you're dealing with the seller and negotiating with the seller. And number 2, you need to have the means. In other words, you have to have the ability to actually close on the deal and buy it. So you have to have access to the funds, the money. Well, you know what? Not a big deal. If you don't have access to the money, you could find a hard money lender that has the money, or a private lender that has the money, or a bank loan that you can go out and get a loan for the deal. So it's the same thing, especially now with vacant land. You need to have those 2 things, the intent to buy the property and the means to buy it. Now, there's been kind of added a 3rd thing now. Kinda, maybe. You need to have a license to wholesale. Now, you do not have to have a license to buy property and then turn around and sell it once you own it. You do not have to have a license to do that. So that's what a lot of wholesalers now are doing. In Illinois and now in South Carolina, they're actually buying the properties. They're closing on them and then turning around and selling them. Okay. The tricky part is, what are you going to do in the meantime? So you get a property under contract for 50 grand. It's worth 70 grand. And you're going to sell it for 60, let's say, right? Well, how do you advertise the property if you don't own it yet? Because that's what these states are cracking down on. They don't want you to advertise that property unless you own it first. So you need to close on it. Well, a few things that I would say here. Number one, go ahead and work on closing it. Go ahead and close the deal. Close the deal, especially with land. This is what I love about land. You can buy it with a credit card. We buy it for so cheap. Or you could use private money. In my Facebook group, in the Inner Circle, and a lot of other vacant land Facebook groups, you can find people on those groups on specifically about vacant land that will partner with you on your deal, will lend you the money on your deal, and you can split the profits with them, potentially, possibly, right? Inside of my Simple Land Flips course, I give you a list of about 15 or 20 different land funding companies that are specifically for funding land deals. And me personally, I will also fund your deals. Okay. So I'm trying to give you all of your options. But if you find a good deal, bring it to me. I'll either buy it from you and just pay you a $5,000 assignment fee or a fee at closing. Number two, or I'll fund the deal and joint venture partner with you on it. So I'll partner with you on it, and I'll coach you and help you do the work of selling the deal, and we'll split the net profit 50-50. If you want me to do all the work of selling it, that's fine. We can do that. My team can fund it, close it, turn around, then sell it, and advertise it, then sell it, and we'll share the profits with you, 70 to us, 30 to you. Okay? So this is great if you're in Canada and you're trying to do deals in the United States. If you're in Europe and you want to do deals here, or if you're here in the U.S. and you want to do deals, but you don't have the funds to close on it, you're worried or concerned about this wholesaling legislation that's coming through. Well, you know what? You can find guys like yours truly that will partner with you on your deals, will fund the deals, close on the deal in 30 days so that you can then turn around, advertise it, and sell it. Make sense? All right. Now, there's also other states where it's not a big deal. In Florida, we're still doing assignments. We're putting properties on the MLS that we don't even own yet in Florida. So you could do that. So there's a lot of other options. Also, as if you're a member of my Inner Circle community, I remember what I was going to say. If you're a member of the Inner Circle community, you're going to get free proof of funds letters and free transactional lending. Free. Doesn't cost you anything. And you don't have to partner with me. So it's transactional funding, which means you have the money, we'll give you the money to close same day or next day. You then sell it to an end buyer. And if you're working with one of our title companies that can make this happen for you, basically the money, as soon as the money comes into escrow from your end buyer, my company will wire the money, and we're partnering with a friend of mine to do this. We'll wire the money to the title company. Then you can close on it and then turn around and sell it. So it's double closing. That's called single day transactional funding. If you're a member of Inner Circle, you get that for free for however long you're in the Inner Circle for any transaction up to $600,000. Is that cool or what? Yeah, it's an awesome. Now, still, Joe, you're not telling me I can't advertise the property. Well, here's what I would say. This is what I really strongly recommend. Number one, when you get a deal under contract, one of the first things you should be doing is going into PropWire, PropStream, Regrid, regrid.com, regrid.com, and find who the neighbors are, okay? Find who are the investors that are buying land there in the last 6 to 12 months, and call them. Say, hey, I think I got a property here you might want. I don't know. Would you be interested in it? Okay. You can also call realtors. Now, that's going to get a little trickier because you don't own it yet. One of my favorite things to do is pull a list of all of the neighbors who own land. Maybe not neighbors yet, actually. I'll backtrack a little bit. Pull a list of all the investors who have bought land recently in that area, in that zip code or in that county, and send them this desperate, motivated letter pretending that you're a desperate, motivated seller and you need to sell your property, okay? Send that letter out to everybody that has bought land in the last 6 months and give them your cell phone number. Give them your phone number to call you on that letter, and you will get calls from that. So you might even just be able to assign it or sell it without advertising the property out there in the public on Zillow or Facebook Marketplace and things like that. That'll help keep you out of trouble. Makes sense? All right. So let me, I got a little tan there. Do you see that? I was at the shooting range for 3 days getting some self-defense firearm training in West Virginia. Has anybody ever been to West Virginia? A lot of dirt to flip there. Beautiful dirt. Beautiful country out there. So any questions, type them in the chat right now. If you're watching me on YouTube or Facebook, type them into the chat if you've got any questions. I'm going to look real quick into my private Inner Circle Facebook group and see, just make sure my video is up there. And I'm going to delete the video that said, hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to be late, like a little weasel. All right, I'll delete that post. And now let me go in here to this one, and I'm going to pin it to featured. Okay, so I'm going to review deals now. And some of you have submitted some deals in advance. So if this makes sense, I want you to please type in the chat right now and say, yeah, thanks, Joe. That makes sense. I understand kind of what you're talking about. Or just say, no, I don't understand. Type in the chat. I'd appreciate that. I just gave myself a comment so I can see there's at least one person watching this and commenting. Okay, let me also then check my personal Facebook profile. Make sure this video is there. Boom, it is. Nice. And there's a bunch of you on there. Cool. And let me go to the YouTubes. YouTube ads beep. And look here. Joe McCall. Boom. Okay, we're good. Okay. Now, let's go into the deals. First one that was submitted was from Alex, and I'm going to share my screen here in just a minute. Let me open up a new window. And let me make sure that it's the right one. Boom. Boom. Okay, nice. I'm here. Good. And then I go to there. Like how the thing slides in there like that. Okay, so this is a deal from Alex, Cumberland County, North Carolina, zip code 28390. I have the Zillow link to the property. Okay, cool. Make sure you guys can see me. Give me a thumbs up again if you like this. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Melissa. Melissa, I don't see your question. You're asking me, can you answer my question, Joe? And I don't know what your question is, Melissa. I am sorry. Thank you, Ashley. Now, some of you on YouTube, I can see your comments. Yeah, nice. And thank you, Rick. Oh, yeah, I was going to tell you. I forgot. We just did a deal. The whole reason I got on this thing of why you need to close on deals. Oh, so sorry. Listen, pay attention. We just flipped a deal. So it was in Southwest Missouri, near Nixa, Missouri. It was 2.6 acres. I have the HUD statement. No, I don't. The closing statements. We netted net $20,600 on this deal, which is pretty cool. And we went ahead and just closed on it with our own money and then turned around, listed it on the MLS and sold it a week or 2 weeks later and made a nice $20,000 profit. And this, I'm telling you guys, this is why I love land so much. It's so much easier than houses. And you may think, well, who buys this land? Why would anybody buy vacant land? I don't get it. You don't need to get it. We went into a county where we knew there was a lot of activity, recent activity. We knew there were a lot of people looking for land. We knew what a similar piece of land would sell for. And we marked ours. We sold ours for, I don't know, 15, 20% less. And then we bought ours down here so we would make at least a $25,000 profit after realtor commissions and everything. And we actually ended up netting $20,000 profit on this deal. Has anybody heard of Nixa, Missouri? It's a small little town near Springfield. Okay. So, well, we did that deal because we were able to close on it and actually buy it. Not in Missouri that there's not a law in Missouri that says you have to do that, but it just makes it easier. Okay. I lost my pen cap. Whatever. Let's get back here to this deal. This is a property in Spring Lake, North Carolina. And let's look at the photos. It's currently for sale. It's been on Zillow for 6 days. They're asking $65,000 for it. All right. One little problem with this might be, listen, it's only been on the market for 6 months. I don't know if the seller's going to be that motivated. Looks like it's in an area where there's some newer homes being built. Interesting. These look like newer home subdivisions. All right, somebody went through the expense, probably cost them a few hundred, maybe $500 to get some professional photos. 0.27 acres, they're asking 65 grand for it. Let me see what the question is here. Oh, so they have offered 47,000. They think this is Alex. Okay, it was when he wrote this. It's been a couple weeks since I canceled last week's call. So this deal was submitted, Alex, 12 days ago. And again, I apologize for taking so long, but I had to cancel last week's call. You said it was currently listed for sale for $79,000. Well, not anymore. Right now it's listed for sale for $65,000. So in your comment, you actually said here also that you think you could sell it for 65 grand. The problem is, I don't think you're going to be able to sell it for 65 grand because right now it's listed for 65 grand. If you get it under contract, you're going to need to sell it for at least 5 or 10 grand less than that. Now it says it's been on the market for 6 days. I imagine what happened is the seller maybe just relisted it. You know what? I'm going to look this up on Redfin. Let me copy the address. Because sometimes you get a better listing history on Redfin. See, it says been on the MLS for 6 days. They're offering a 5% buyer's agent fees. I wonder if Alex is the one who actually bought it and has listed it. See, I'm not sure what's going on here. You can see here, listing removed and etc. It was listed in March 23, relisted February, but the price isn't here. Now it's 65 grand. Alex, I'm curious, maybe you did get it under contract and now you got it, you bought it for 47 grand, or you have it under contract for 47 grand and now you're trying to sell it for 65. So I don't know the answer to that yet. But by the way, going forward, I'm going to do these calls on Zoom so I can see your comments here, so I can ask you questions about these deals. But I'm just assuming that this property, you want to make an offer on this property. That's what I'm going to say. All right. So if you make an offer on this property and then you buy it and you turn around and sell it, you're going to need to sell it for 55 or 60 grand. That's where you're going to have to start from, and then work the numbers backwards from there, right? So let's open the profit analyzer software spreadsheet thingy right here. Okay, I'll zoom in. We need to know the average active price per acre, the average sold price per acre, and we're going to put it here to come up with our offer amount. So, right now it's listed for 65 grand. So just rough numbers, I'm going to want to turn around and list it for 55 grand. I want to make at least a $10,000 profit. I'm going to pay a realtor 10% commissions. I might borrow borrow some money. I'll pay a private investor $2,500. I'll have maybe a 3% oops factor. I'll pay somebody $500 for photos. It's North Carolina. Closing costs are a little bit more because it's an attorney state. All right, so now I come up with this number, 32 grand. Should I zoom in a little bit more? There you go. But my general rule of thumb is I don't want to offer more than 50%. So, 60 max, but so I'm going to offer 27,500. Just looking at this, if I'm going to sell this deal for 55 grand, I'm going to offer 27.5, and I'm going to make about a $10,000 to $15,000 profit on this deal. Now, let's look at some active comps on this thing. So I'm going to click on this map. I'm going to click on nearby homes for sale. And let me just look at the comments here about this deal. So this is Zach's dad's property. Okay. This is his dad's vacant lot. He's selling it for his dad. Okay, well, that maybe explains a little bit more. But let's look here. Let's move my face to over here so you can see these houses on the right. Let's go to home type land. I want to make sure I'm looking at under contract, coming soon, and pendings. Pendings are really important. Our property is right in the center of this map, right? Okay, this is good. I mean, this is a competitor and you're way less than the competitor. This is our property we're looking at is 0.27 acres, right? Let's do a filter lot size from 9,500 square feet to 1 acre. All right, there's only 2 listings here. So I'm going to zoom out. Oh, I've got a lot of them over here. But good news for you is you're the cheapest, I think. Let's sort by price, low to high. Oh, this is interesting. This is a little bigger lot right here that's for 65, right? All right, just looking at actives real quick, I think you're really well priced. I think you're priced at a good price there. Hopefully this area looks like it's different, obviously than this area. So why? I don't know. Let's zoom out one more time. All right, now there's 17 vacant lots currently listed for sale, low to high. I'm going to sort this real quick from high to low and just let's remove anything above $150,000. So I'm going to go to price, max, 150 grand. So that gives us 16 comps. Oops. And I'm going to go sort priced low to high. Now I'm going to use that Pebble Scraper tool. I know you can't see this, but I'll do a screenshot. And it looks like save. All right, you see my screen there. This is what it looks like. I just did this Pebble Chrome extension will scrape everything that's on the right and give you an average or median price per acre. So I'm going to use these lower of the two, and I'm going to say, let's put in 255,814. 255,814. And our property that we're looking at is, how many acres again? 0.27. 0.27. So based on active listings, and I usually like to discount my active comps by 15%. So based on the kind of the median price per acre of actives, it's worth 69, but I like to, discount it 15%. So I'm going to list it for maybe 58. Now let's look at solds. I'm looking for, number one, are there a lot of solds here? What's the activity like? So I'm going to go to solds and first look at 3 months. A little nervous. There's not much there. Nothing there in the last 3 months, right? Let's go 6 months. There's 1. Okay, that's good. Let's go last year. All right, so we've got some more, but yeah, dang it. Not much, right? If I zoom out one more time, now I got a bunch more. Now I have 14 comps. Okay. The problem is now you got some of these. Now these might be crappy junk properties, so maybe you can ignore them, but here's 0.35 acres. I don't know the size of this. So sometimes if it doesn't give you the acres here, sometimes you have to click on it. And you have to, somewhere in here, sometimes it'll tell you 2 quarter-acre lots, side by side, total half acre. So this was a half acre that sold for 25 grand. But let's take a look at this. I'm going to do the Pebble Scraper on this. And it gave me all of the ones except, so I'm going to zero out the some of the outliers here. So I'm going to remove the 2 cheapest ones, and I'm going to remove the most expensive one. All right, so let me screen share this. and show you what I see. Okay, these are solds now, right? So the median price per acre is 98. The average price per acre is 85,000. And these were the properties that it's scraped right here, okay? So if I did 85,291 right here, 85,291, that tells me based on sold comps, it's worth 23 grand. Yeah. So obviously a wide variety there, right? This is where you're going to kind of have to look at, well, and I took these two here that were 12 grand out. This is where you're going to have to, dig a little deeper. This one, maybe you ignore all of these because they're way over here. This is a pretty good comp. Okay. This is a pretty good comp. Well, maybe not. It's kind of far away. This is going to be something now where you just really need to figure out, well, these properties that are selling over here, what's different about these than the ones that are right here in the middle? This property here, it's two different lots, right? This one and this one. But it's not a corner lot like you have. So, when you have a situation like this where it's just unknown, it's hard to get comps for it. And you've got a average price per acre of 85,000 from solds and 255,000 from actives. It's a huge variance. This is where you're just going to have to talk to the seller. And I know this is your dad, so it's different, Alex, but you're going to need to figure out what is the least that the seller would take. And I wouldn't even give the seller an offer in this kind of a scenario. I would be honest with the seller, and this is what I would say. This is important. I want you to pay attention to how I like to talk to sellers. I usually start off the conversation with something like, listen, I'm looking here at the comps. I don't think I'm your buyer. Right off the bat, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be your buyer. But, tell me a little bit about the property. Why do you want to sell it? I see you've had it listed here before. Let me go back here. I see you've had it listed before and it didn't sell. It was removed, a few times. And so tell me what's going on. What's your situation? I'm interested in their story. I'm not interested in the property. I'm interested in the story. Why don't you just list it with a realtor? Oh, it is listed with the realtor. Okay, good. All right. So why haven't you sold it yet? How long has it been on the market? How long have you been trying to sell it? Why do you want to sell it? You're not in a hurry to sell it, right? You got lots of time. Okay. All right. So you had it listed for 65. Cool. All right. I'm looking, boy, it's 0.26 acres. And okay, you've listed it for 65. Is that the lowest you'd go? Yikes. Because I'm looking here. I see a property that's sold within the last, 8 months or so, 10 months. That's sold. It's bigger than yours, and it's sold for 39. And I see another bigger lot that's sold for 35, and a big here's a half acre that's sold for 25. Oh shoot, man! I even see some here. These are 1 acre lots that sold for 12 grand. 0.35 acres that sold for 12,500. I mean, do you know what's going on? Why did these sell for so much cheaper? Now, I've already brought their defenses way down. I've already told them, listen, I'm not probably your guy. I'm probably not interested. And I'm kind of being honest. I'm really not. I need the seller to convince me why I would want to buy their property. I want the seller to convince me why I should pay 65 grand for their property when I'm finding these others that are selling for 25, 35, $12,000. So I asked the seller, is this, you're asking, 65,000. Is that a fair price for this crazy market? I mean, let's just be honest with me. If you were me, would you pay 65 grand for this property? And the other thing I'll do here is I'll look at for sales. Okay. And I zoom way out. Oh, this is where it's important to zoom out. I didn't zoom out before. And I'd ask the seller, I would ignore this $1,000 one, but I'd say, oh, wow. Man, I'm sure yours is really nice, but I'm looking here it looks like a few miles away to the south. I'm finding some properties that are currently pending right now that are 0.4 acres for $39,000, 0.4 for 42. Oh, I could go buy right now a 0.4 acre lot for $45,000. So, how long, what are you going to do, Mr. Seller, if you can't sell yours for 65? Are you just going to wait? I hope you do sell it, but I'm probably not your guy. Do you see what I'm doing here, guys? I'm not chasing the seller. I'm making them come to me. I want to know from them, what is the least you would take? And I could say, I'm looking at these properties here that I could buy one right now that's bigger than yours for 45. So, I'm sure your property's nice. The neighborhood's great, but tell me what's going on here. I'm confused. All right. What is the least that you would take? Now, Alex, I know this is your dad, right? So I would say, Dad, look at these comps. You got to zoom out and show them these active comps here and say, look, there's properties here that are currently pending for 39, 42. Here's one that's listed for 45 and 50 way over here. Like, Dad, is 61 the lowest you can go? Maybe your dad's passed. I'm sorry, but maybe something's going on. I don't know. Yeah, if you wanted $65,000 for it, maybe you should offer seller financing. And maybe this is such a good neighborhood. It's in a better HOA. It's got more amenities. The roads are paved. It's nicer, whatever. It's got a fire hydrant in the front. It could be that since it's on a corner, that's not a good thing. I don't know. But yeah. Okay. You want to get the seller, you want to ask the seller like 3, 4, 5 different times in different ways. What's the least you would take for it? What's your absolute rock bottom number? What's the least you would actually take for it? And then what are you going to do if you can't sell it for that? Are you going to, if I could pay you cash, close in 30 days, could you go any lower than that? Let's say they say, well, maybe I could sell it for 50. I would say, oh man, 50. Oh. So I don't know, man. If you're saying that I brought you a briefcase today to your house for $35,000 cash, are you telling me you wouldn't take it? See what they say. Now, this is a little tricky, right? Because there's a lot of comps that are way cheaper. There's solds that are way cheaper. I want to make sure I have 90 days to close on this deal. I want to make sure I have 90 days to close because I want the market to tell me what it's worth. Maybe you can sell it for 65, and that's awesome. Great. I hope you do. But if I'm going to turn around and sell it, I'm going to need to sell it for maybe 49. I'm just looking at this. I mean, maybe I would turn around and sell it for 49,500, which means I would offer about 25 grand. Oh, you don't see my screen. Sorry. So, maybe I would turn around and sell it for 49.5. So I would offer 25 grand on this one. But I'm going to tell the seller, listen, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to need time. I'm going to need 3 months to verify taxes, title, and value. Those are the 3 things I always say: taxes, title, and value. And I need to see because I tell the sellers, many times I sell my properties with owner financing. I buy them and I turn around and sell them with owner financing. I don't know if anybody's going to want to buy this thing and I'm going to be able to make any money on it. So I'll give you a 90-day contract. And we'll just put it out there and see what I can get. I'm going to be completely upfront and honest with the seller. Now, you want to make sure you have at least 3 months to close on this deal. And then you put it out there in the market, and the market will tell you whether it's a good deal or not. You might put it out there for 49,500 and start getting flooded with calls. Then you can do a highest and best maybe with them, right? You may put it out there for 49,500 and you're not getting any calls. Then you can go back to the seller after a month. You don't have to wait the full 3 months, 90 days. Go back to the seller after 4 weeks and say, listen, I don't think this is going to work. I've been putting it out there and I'm not getting any interest at all from anybody. So I'm sorry. We either need to lower the price even more, or I'm going to have to cancel my contract. Or you know what? I'll give you the names and phone numbers of 5 different realtors that have sold properties here recently, and maybe you should just list it. Okay? I'm never going to be the desperate, motivated buyer. Never, never, ever, ever be the motivated buyer. You can only do business with motivated sellers. So make the offer and move on, and be conservative in your numbers, right? When you're looking at the spreadsheet here, don't think, well, I could probably sell this for, 50 to 60. I could probably sell it for 50 to 70,000. So I'm going to try to sell it for 60. No, use the lower number. Be more conservative. Say, I'm going to sell this thing for 45. That's why I'm going to offer 24,000 here, 23,000. And do not be afraid to offend the seller when you're making your lowball cash offers. You're in this business to make money, not make friends. And if you've not made a seller upset by 12 o'clock, you're not making enough offers and you're not marketing enough. Okay? So, Alex, I don't know what your situation is with your dad, if he's still around or why you're selling this. But, it's been on the market now for 6 days. And so maybe you're getting a lot of calls on this. Sometimes you can see how many views that you're getting on these properties, Yeah, so you're only getting 26 views and 0 saves. I don't know if there's a lot of people looking for land in this area, but that's not a lot. That's very, very minimum. You can kind of tell the activity of a deal, right? I would be, if you're advertising this, I would be as aggressive as possible, right? I would probably turn around and list this thing for maybe in a couple weeks, lower it to 55. Maybe a couple weeks after that, lower it to 45. There is a golf course. Oh, here's the other deal. I forgot to even bring this up. The community offers many amenities. Okay, that's good. That could also be bad. You know why? Because look at the HOAs. What are the HOA dues here? Are there anything on here about HOAs? There's nothing. Well, okay, if you're listing this, you need to make sure your listing shows what the HOA fees are, because there are HOA dues on this thing, right? HOA. And right now, maybe it's, a Zillow or a Redfin thing, but I don't see any information here about what the HOAs are. And there is definitely HOA. So I'm betting with these kinds of amenities here, tennis courts, pickleball, soccer, basketball, swimming, splash pad, spa, fitness center, lap pool, golf course, I bet you the HOAs are at least a couple $100 a month. So I'm even going to be more conservative in my offer because you just don't have as many buyers looking to buy property here when there's big HOA fees like that. This is a small little property. You can't go camping on here. You can't put your four-wheelers and ride your four-wheelers around here. You can't go shooting guns. You can't put your RV or your off-the-grid thing there, right? So this is a special buyer that's looking to build something in the future in this community. All right, let me say one more thing here. What I would do as well, if you've not already, if you go to regrid.com, this is a new website I found recently, regrid.com, go into the map link, and then paste the address of that property. And click here. All right, there's a property there. And one of the things I like to do is you can do 3D image. So if you hold your command key down or a control key, you can kind of look at the terrain, I think. Maybe there is no terrain here. Maybe it is pretty flat. I don't know. So you might want to look at it on MapRight or Land ID or something. Okay, so what was I going to say? Yeah, so from here, one of the cool things about Regrid, and I don't know much about it yet, but you could zoom in, and I would look at who this owner is right here, and you can see their information, William something, McNaughton, and here's their address of the owner. It's probably the property address. Yeah, so you can find the owner. There's a name, there's a mailing address. You can skip trace them and call them and send them a letter and say, hey, do you want to buy this vacant lot next to you? there's a good chance they would want to do that. I would also call maybe the other neighbors or call this guy here, Russell Suzette. You can find their mailing address. Oh, my face is covering this. Sorry, guys. All right, so over here on the left, you can kind of get information about them. Now, you could get a Premium Pro account, and it's like $10 a month or something. It's super cheap, and you get this information. All right, there's another property investor base. I've been looking into this. Let me log in here real quick. Hold on a second, 'cause you're gonna like this. I just found this tool the other day, and the guys have been helping me with it. The guys who own it. If you're doing houses and you know anything about Investor Lift, this is very similar, but it's called Investor Base, and it's a lot cheaper. You can look into a property, and it gives you the all of the investors and landlords that are around there. All right, so this guy Daniel, I've been talking to him a little bit. He's adding some information here. So let me log into my account. Joe at okay. So I am going to let me share my screen. So this is a new tool that's really amazing, and there's a lot of things I like about it. A few things that I'm waiting for them to kind of add before I really promote it. But let's put in that address here. And it's going to search within 2-mile radius within the last year. And I land. And let's click the search button. Check this out. I'm actually texting the guy right now. I'm messaging him. All right, so here, let me zoom out. You can see a few properties. Okay, if you click here, this is a buy and hold investor, and I know it's really tiny, but you can see the name, Creekside Oaks LLC, and you have the name and the phone numbers of that property. He purchased that vacant lot for 150 grand. Here is a flipper, which means they bought it and then turned around and sold it. And you can see who the original purchaser was. They bought this property, 1.1 acres for 30 grand, and they turned around and sold it for 50 grand. They held it for 6 months. Now this is vacant land, so it's not houses. You can do this with houses also, which is really awesome. But you can see now here, again, this guy, John, if I open it up, this was a buy and hold investor, like I said. So the key means buy and hold like a landlord. They bought it for 40 grand. This is a flipper here, Dalifer Enterprises. They bought it for 30, sold it for 268. Now they might have put a house on that, right? And if you zoom out, let's do another search, maybe 3-mile radius. So it's looking. So all it's doing is it's looking for who are the absentee owner investors of vacant land in this area who have bought something in the last year that are flippers and landlords. Now, flipper means, they just flip it. Landlord is they own it and they're maybe selling it with owner financing or whatever. So now we got a lot more here. We got a bunch of people down here, and you can see Arnold or Anad LLC. There's a name and phone numbers, and they bought a bunch of properties. They have 13 properties in their portfolio, and they bought this one. It doesn't say for how much, but basically, it looks like they bought a bunch of them. So yeah, this is a guy who's buying a lot of these vacant lots here. Why don't you call him? There's some phone numbers there, and there's a possible email address. So this is pretty cool, huh? And you can zoom in a little bit here. So our lot we're selling is right there. This is, again, a landlord, somebody who, no, this is a flipper. They bought it for 30, sold it for 48. They held it for 2 months. Jill Gomez, name sounds familiar. There's some phone numbers. If you click on the Zillow link, this shows you the property that she bought and sold. Sometimes you can go in here and see a history. Now, see, I don't know how they're getting this. The Zillow shows it 84 last purchased. Okay, so in like a lot of areas too, there's some markets that have more data than others. But this is pretty cool. It's very similar to Investor Lift, but a lot cheaper. Now, one of the cool things you can do with this now is you can get all of these in a table. There's 24 results, right? See 24 results. And how do I... Okay, so if you go to My Deals and then click on this, table view, boom, here we go. So you can kind of see some data here on who the landlords, who the flippers are. Most of them are landlords buy and hold. And you can see all their information here. So, you could take this whole thing. Now you've got a bunch of phone numbers of people that have bought this land, and you can go through here and start calling them. And then one of the cool things is, as you go down and start calling them, you can click on one of them, and it's kind of like a CRM. You can update this with new, no answer, interested, assigned, not interested, incorrect info, and keep your notes right here. All right. And next time you come in, you go here to My Deals, you find your property right here, and you can see here in table view, you can see all of these people and the statuses, and you can filter out, filter by status here and say, all right, show me all the no answers, and you can go through and start calling them. Just call these guys from your cell phone is what I would recommend. Hey, is this Jill? Jill, yeah, hey, I'm looking here. I think you bought a property recently. I don't know. I may be wrong. I see you bought a property in Spring Lake, North Carolina. A vacant lot. Is that right? Yeah, I see you bought it for 30 and you flipped it. Is that right? Did you sell it? Oh, nice. Cool. Well, I'm a wholesaler also. You wouldn't be looking for another deal, would you? Cool. Do you see what I'm doing there? Very cool tool. Now, you can do this also in PropStream, but I really like how it's laid out here in InvestorBase. Now, if you get a deal where the buyer is found, it moves over here, and you've assigned it or you've closed it. You can move these deals over. All right, so like if this is a deal that you found a buyer, you drag it over here, and this is kind of like your CRM, where you're kind of like managing your deals in here. Does that make sense? So I'll be giving more information about this, InvestorBase.com. Again, it's mainly for houses, One of the things I've told them is, listen, I want to have the addresses of these owners. I want the address of Gregory Minor. All it's giving me is the address of the property. I want the address of Gregory Minor or Signature Home Builders so I can send them a letter. He said, yeah, I know we don't have that yet, but we're looking at getting it added in soon. You could look the property up on Regrid, right? You could like search this property on Regrid. So it wants me to create a free, you can register for your free account. I've already done this. Hang on here. I want to show you what you can do with Regrid. JV. All right, close your eyes. Copy password. Paste. I created an account, and it's just like $100 for the year or something cheap. The address of, so I want to, this was the property here, 68 Micro Tower Road. Dang it. So I can zoom in it from here. So this is a property. And I might be able to go down here and find out who the buyer was. TTJ Hotel Ventures. Scroll down. And there's the address. So I could send this guy a letter saying, hey, do you want to buy another lot nearby next to yours? Give me a call. Call this number. By the way, what letters do you send? I'm going way off topic here. Alex didn't even ask for any of this stuff. But what letter would you send to these folks? Hey, are you looking for a deal? I'll show you what to send them. This is a $1 million idea right here. Letters to buyers. This is for my land course. You also have this if you're an Inner Circle member. Desperate motivated buyer, yellow letter. Oh my gosh. So this is a handwritten yellow letter that you can send to, all these guys that you have here from Regrid, Investor Base, PropStream, this is what you send to them. Urgent, handwritten, yellow letter. Okay, urgent, don't throw me away. And I'll explain to you why I wrote that. I desperately need to sell my 0.26 acre vacant lot near street name in the city, county, state. I've had it on the market for some time now, and I can't wait any longer. Underline, bold. Take a look at the attached map. Call me, and I'll tell you all about it. Sometimes I like to attach a map to show them where the property is. The title is clear. The taxes are paid. It's in great shape, and I need it sold today. I'm desperate. Call me, and please make me a cash offer right now. Name and phone number, all right? Then crumple that letter up, fold it back, put it into fourths, put it in an invitation envelope, hand address the envelope, and send it to all of these other buyers, and you will get calls, all right? Put your cell phone number on there. You will get calls. And this will help you avoid the whole, listing it without a license that you don't own it yet and all that junk. Cool beans? What do you guys think? Type in the chat, the comments. Let me know if, we're on the same page. Are you still picking up what I'm laying down here? Real quick question from Ashley here. I want to dive into non-disclosure states such as Utah and Texas and Kansas, and there's like 6 or 7 total states that are non-disclosure, Missouri. Will the procedure be different from doing this in other states? Especially, how do you get comps in those states? Thank you. Well, you're going to need to rely more heavily on active comps because you can't get sold comps, right? Now, there are some tools that claim to give you sold comps from the MLS like Privy, but Privy doesn't give you vacant land. Last I knew, it didn't. So either get access from the MLS or rely more heavily on active comps. And the other thing is Priced, PRYCD, does a pretty good job of saving data and can give you comps. Now, sometimes a property is marked as sold on other websites. And so sometimes Priced will give you that. But otherwise, it's just kind of like, here's an estimated price based on what it was last listed for. If you're just getting started, Ashley, I would tell you, just don't worry about the non-disclosure states yet. Only do deals in the disclosure states that will tell you what previous properties sold for. Okay, good. Let's go look at another deal now. I spent way too much time on that one. It was good though, wasn't it? Is this good? Again, give me a thumbs up, like this video, comment down below. Let me know this has been helpful for you, would you please? Thanks. Awesome. All right, there's a property in Elbert County, Georgia. Thank you, Tim, for telling me which county it's in. Elbert County, Georgia. Where is that? Let's look at right now, shall we? Elbert County, Georgia. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, you don't see my screen. There's Elbert County, Georgia. Right there. And Elberton is right in the center of it. I have an APN number, so I don't know if that's going to help me much. Let's look at Regrid, and sometimes you can put an APN number in there and see. I didn't think it would help me. This is a very generic, simple APN number, and there's Kentucky, Massachusetts, Maryland. What's ME? Maine? Kentucky. No. So like see all results. Oh boy. So I don't see it. This is in Georgia. Let's try. Sometimes I use a Land Grid. Is that what it is? Land Glide. No, what is it? Land Glide. Is that it? Yeah, Land Glide. Let me log in. Close your eyes. All right, sometimes you can search by APN there. Now, see, I get all of this now. And there's a million properties with similar numbers in Arkansas. Let me try typing in GA for Georgia. Nope. Tim, I can't help you on this one. I need... You didn't give me enough information. You didn't give me an address. You didn't give me GPS coordinates. Sorry, I can't help you. It's 3 acres. All right, so we know it's Elberton County, Georgia. Well, we know the zip code. 30634. Let's just go there, okay? Let's go 30, what is it? 30634. 30634. Here's the zip code in that area. All right, let's look at pendings, actives, coming soons. Let's look at land. Now, what's interesting with Redfin, sometimes they give you like all around the area, which, you know, I don't understand, but that's fine. Let's look at land only, for sale, pending, good. And our property, I think you said, was, again, 3 acres. All right, so let's look at, I'm just going to do 1, I know you can't see this, 1 to 10 acres. All right. There's 2. I'm going to go ahead and remove outline. Ooh, we got a bunch up there, huh? Let's sort from low to high. So I've got 44 properties here. I wish I knew where yours was. I'd zoom in a little closer, but you don't want to ignore these. These might even be more valuable since they're on this lake. But this also tells me it's on a lake. There's probably an HOA, so I might ignore those. Let me do sort high to low, and let's remove anything above. Let's remove anything above 100 grand, okay? Sort from low to high. Now these are 1.3 acres, 1.19. We're going to look at an average price per square foot, price per acre here in a minute. Okay. All right, so I've got 39. I'm going to do that Redfin. I'm sorry, I'm going to do that Pebble Scraper thing. And I have a median price per square foot of $13,529. And this is 3 acres. So based on active listings, actives, let me move this guy over here. I'm always in, my big fat head is always in the way of something. So at the average price per acre in that area, $13,529 an acre, which means our property might be worth 40 grand. I like to discount at 15%. I like to discount actives by 15%. So it might be worth 34,500. Let's look at solds real quick. Solds last 3 months. All right, it's decent activity. 6 months. Let's do the year because I want as many cheap ones as I can find. 47. I'm going to sort low to high. Okay. Oops. Let's do the Pebble Scraper again. Ooh, I have 9,000 an acre is the median price per acre. Now I'm actually going to, I know you can't see this, but I'm going to kind of remove some of the cheapest ones here. Oh, no, shoot, maybe I'm not. There's a 0. I'm going to, there's some zeros in there. I'm going to remove the real expensive ones. Just trying to normalize this whole thing a little bit, right? All right, so yeah, about 8,900 per acre. Okay, so looking at solds, an average of 8,900 an acre. So it's going to be worth 26 to 35,000. I'm going to list it for 25,000. I want to make at least a $7,500 wholesale fee. I'm going to pay a realtor 10% commissions. Am I going to borrow any money on this? I don't know, probably not. Let's have a 5% oops factor, pay $500 for photos. I'm going to have $1,500 in closing costs. So I'm going to offer about $11,750 for this deal. Just based on going out, looking as I did on Redfin here, looking at solds, looking at actives that are also pending, looking at 1 to 10 acres, removing the real expensive ones, getting an average price per acre. Actives are at $13,000, discount at 15%, solds about $8,900. So the property might be worth, I'll be able to sell it, just real quick numbers, for $26,000 to $35,000. I want to price it aggressively, right? I want to sell it quickly. I'm going to sell it for $25,000. Now this is where you can also go, all right, let's say we're going to sell it for $25,000. Let's look at actives and for sale. What is my competition? Remember, ours is 3 acres. So these are 2 acres. Oh, so look at this. Mine's 3 acres. I'm trying to sell it for 25, but this one's 3.36. It's bigger, and they're selling it for 25. And how long has it been on the market? 85 days, and it hasn't sold yet. Almost 3 months. So I want mine. Mine's got to be cheaper than this. So you know what? I'm going to go back here. I'm actually going to list mine for $19,500. Okay, so I'm going to offer $7,000. Am I going to offend the seller? Yeah, probably. But guess what? I mean, I'm a nice guy, but I don't care. And I know you're a nice guy. But I want to, so this is why it's so important. Forget about what price says the property's worth. Forget about what price says it's worth. Forget about what the seller says it's worth. And this lot is unrestricted, which is good. Okay? I don't know why it has this picture of the property is both sides of the street, but unrestricted, that's a good thing. So, yeah, I'm looking at this like, put yourself in the mind of the buyer. Why would somebody want to pay $25,000 for your property, 3 acres, when they can buy this one for 3.36 for $24,900 right now? When they can buy this one for $29,000, and this is maybe even nicer, whatever. So put yourself in the mind of these buyers. You want yours to be priced so aggressively that they are going to want to buy it as soon as possible. I hope my thing wasn't, oops. I hope my face wasn't covering this, but if you look over here on the right, I was looking at some of these properties here, like this one. I was looking at this one right here. So back to the spreadsheet. I'm going to sell it aggressively, $19,500. I want to make at least, if you want to make $10,000 on it, boom, offer $4,500. All right, we got a couple more to look at. How am I doing on time here? My daughter, she's turned 16 today. We're going to have a birthday dinner with her today. Okay. I got a little bit of time here. We got one more deal to review, I think. 2. Let's look at them right now. Oh, Santa Rosa County, Florida. I like that. I like Florida. Let me share my screen here. Let's look at Santa Rosa County, Florida. You know where this is? This is a great hot area right now in Florida. There's Fort Walton Beach right here. Pensacola's right there. Rosemary Beach. We go down here at least once a year, once every 2 years, rent an Airbnb along this area. It's called 30A, Destin. Okay, so there's a property that this guy has. Who is this? John. Good, I got GPS coordinates. Thank you. Why do I like GPS coordinates? You just put them in Google and it takes you right there. Okay, you can zoom out and see where the property is. It's a great area. Is it a wetland? Probably. The whole state of Florida is a wetland. But we'll see. Maybe. You know, I'm looking here. Are there other houses in this area? There's one house there. Okay, that's kind of a good sign, but all right. Can you search for properties by GPS coordinates on Regrid? Let's try. Go to map. Search address. Oh, look at that. You can. I like Regrid. Come on now. Now, but the question is, will it show me wetlands? This is a 0.32 acre. I'm going to write this down. 32 acres. Oh, there's some mobile home parks there. Let's go to layers. Oh, man, my head keeps on in the ways. Maybe I can be up there. Let's go down here. Let's see parcel numbers. You can see parcel numbers there. See the owner's names right here. Sometimes I like seeing the owner's names because I can tell if there's some government-owned, county-owned property. Okay. FEMA flood zone. Yeah, go figure. Let's look at wetlands. Yes. Okay, so let's zoom out. Not a deal killer. Like this whole area is wetlands. Okay. It doesn't mean you can't buy and sell property here. You just probably can't build a home here or something. And what are the different colors for? I don't know. Colors mean something. Let's look this property up. I really still like Land ID, even though it's more expensive. Florida. Let's search by latitude, longitude. Cut. Negative. Paste. Go. All right, so we can click here and see all the information about the owner, 0.32 acres. Sometimes it tells you how long ago they bought it. I don't see that here. They live in Minnesota. Okay, now let's go here to overlays. FEMA floodplain. Yes. Surprise, surprise. And wetlands. Okay, let me turn floodplain off. Now, see, remember we said our property is kind of right there in this area. But look, there's still properties that are kind of in wetlands. Well, maybe. Let's look at this here. This one kind of half is and half isn't. These are not. Now, come on. Let's look at this here. Like, the wetland is just magically, like, not in this area. It's not in this area, but it is in this area. Like, how does that happen? And this whole area is flat. So maybe, you know, you could get it rezoned or something. Like, why is this property wetland, but this one is, this one isn't? And it just happens to, like, some of these areas are not. I don't know. I don't know this area. This is where you're going to have to talk to a local realtor or something. But fact of the matter is, when you're talking to a seller, you're going to ask them this question. Was it in a wetland or not? And it probably is. But this is such a hot area. Okay, how do I know? Well, let's look. Santa Rosa County, right? Santa Rosa County, Florida. I'm going to reset all my filters here. All right. Let's look at solds. Last 3 months. Home type, land. 258 vacant lots have sold. Even little things like this have been selling. What? 1,300 square feet? Even these little lots, 258, that's good. And we're right here in the middle of this kind of peninsula here, right? So if we scroll down into this area, let's see what kind of activity is sold recently. Let's get an address here. Remember, we were looking here. Let's get an address. Our property was right there. If I zoom in, our property is right there, right? So let's find a property that has an address. So we know we're real. If I click on Timothy Duggins here, this is the address of the property. I'm just going to copy that. And let's look that property up here in Redfin. Search on map. There it is, right? So I'm going to zoom in. Let's look at map, satellite. So our property is kind of right here in the center of this grid, right? And if I zoom out, so my property is right in the center. I'm looking at solds in the last 6 months. Vacant land, sort from low to high. All right, this property's up here, sold for $6,500. This property sold for $11,000 right there. This property sold for $40,000. It's got water access probably. That's probably why. But I guarantee you this is a wetland and FEMA floodplain. But they're still so like, and these properties probably also are floodplains. But here's the deal. In an area like this where you're a little suspicious, you're like, man, I don't know. I don't want to be committed to buy a property here. That am I going to be able to sell this? People who buy this, a lot of them are not going to want to actually build a house on it. They just want a property where they can go camping for a little bit. They can go camping there, and then they can, bring their boat or spend some time out here on the Delta, the bay, the bayou, and, maybe, go into the water and go out to the ocean from here, right? They're just looking for a place where maybe they can park a boat, camp for a little bit, just a cheap place to get real close to the beach. Now I want to also, let's look at Google Maps here. I want to see if there's some Google Street Views in that area. Let's drag the yellow dude around a little bit. So let's go here. Yeah, you can tell it's wet, right? But the property is here in this area. Great seclusion, great privacy. Somebody buys a lot out there. Now, is there road access? Oh, good question, right? Road access. Yeah, this street right here, Coronado. Let's look here. Now, where I don't see Coronado anywhere. This is interesting, right? Like, let me turn these layers off. Oh, that looks paved. Just zooming in there. That looks like a paved road, Coronado Street, right? Coronado. Why don't I see it here? I want an address. Copy. Paste. There's that RV park. So I don't know why I don't see Coronado Street on here. This is 26 30th. 26 30th. Oh, maybe it's called something different. See, okay, now it's called Sienna Street here. That's interesting. All right, so our property is right off of Coronado Street right there. There's Sienna Street. Okay, so our property, if I drag this yellow dude, it's got a street view on it. If I click right there, so our property is right in this area right here. And it's paved asphalt. It's probably pretty easy to get utilities there. It might be wetland, but this is, again, one of those deals where if you get it under contract, you have 90 days to close, 3 months. Put it out there on the market and see if there is any interest on it, right? This property sold here, there's nothing. Let's look at actives again here. So there's no competition. That's interesting too, right? No competition. But it's such a good county. I would get it under contract. So what would you offer for it? Well, let's look at solds here. Let's look at the past year. Sort low to high. I'm a little concerned there's no actives and no solds here. All right, well, let's sort from high to low and remove the expensive ones. So let's remove anything above 50 grand. All right, sort it from low to high. Zoom out a little bit. There's only 6. All right, so now we've got 14 comps. Okay, I'm going to do that pebble scraper tool. 37,500. I'm going to remove some of the big expensive ones. All right. 36,364 price per acre actives, and ours was a 0.32. So based on that, it might be worth 10 grand. Okay, let's look at solds. Oh, that was solds. Okay, sorry. That was solds, right? So copy, paste. Let's look at actives now. Actives under contracts and pendings. Yeah, so look. Why would somebody want to buy our property for 15 when they can buy this one for 10 right now? How long has this one been on the market? 43 days. It's not sold yet. So don't get discouraged when you see these really low comps. All right. Doesn't offend me. It doesn't bother me at all. But I want to make sure mine's the cheapest. So I'm going to probably list mine for $9,500. But let's do the pebble scraper tool again here. I'm going to remove some of the big outliers. Again, just removing the outliers, the big expensive properties. They're not my competition. I don't want to look at them when I'm calculating the average price per acre. You know what I'm saying? All right, so we got about $66,000 an acre. $66,000 an acre. Based on active listings, right? Based on active listings for sale, pendings. So the properties may be worth $11,600 to $17,000, $18,000. So what price am I going to list it for? I want to price it aggressively, right? This is my competition. Why would somebody want to buy mine for 15 when they can buy this one for 10? So I'm going to list mine for $9,950. How about $9,500? Obviously, I can't make a $10,000 wholesale fee on that. So I'll make a $5,000 wholesale fee. I'm going to pay a realtor 15% commissions. In Florida, $1,000 closing costs. So I'm going to offer $1,000. I'm going to offer $1,000. And I know the seller might not like that, but oh well. Sorry. As my mom would always say, tough titty kitty. She would also say, tough titty kitty, but the milk's still good. I have no idea what that means, but she said that all the time to me. Tough titty kitty, but the milk's still good. All right, so John, we're kind of off on our numbers. You said you would offer $3,700. I think you should offer $1,000. You said that you could sell it for 16 grand. I don't know. I don't know if you could sell it for 16 grand. Because again, this one is for sale for 10. This one's for sale for 13. They're a little smaller, but not much. This one is bigger than yours, currently for sale for $14,900. I'm a little concerned there's nothing else here going on. Maybe it's too much of a wetland. I don't know. This is one of those where I would be super conservative, offer $1,000, try to sell it for $9,500. Make sure you have 3 months to close. I would probably sell this thing with seller financing. You'll sell it like that with owner financing. You know, if you sold it with owner financing, let's say here, you sold it for, I might even sell it for $13,000 with seller financing. You know, get $650 down, charge 12% over 5 years, get $275 a month on this thing. That's pretty stinking good. And your total into the deal, let's see here. You're going to buy it for $1,000. You're going to sell it for cash for $9,500. Pay a realtor 15% commissions. You got $1,000 in closing costs. $500 for photos, private money. You make $475. So you might make a $5,000 profit for cash, but if you sell it with seller financing, sell it for $13,000, you're going to make first year cash on cash return, 90% cash on cash return on this deal. $275. If you did, let's say your average mortgage payment is $2,000. You only need 7 of those deals, 8 of those deals to cover your mortgage payment. 8. You only need 8 of these deals to cover your mortgage payment. Come on. All right, cool. Clear as mud. All right, how are we doing on time? I need to hurry up. John, I hope that was helpful. You submitted that deal yesterday. John, let me know what you thought, if that was helpful or not. Real quick, Amy, this is a deal that looks like she got under contract. Bam! Hot diggity dog, she did. She got this property under contract for $6,600. $6,610 actually. $6,610.50. It's 1.11 acres. 1.11 acres. And you have 3 months to close. You have 90 days to close. All right. So, and the name of her company is She Buys Land. I like that. What a great name, Amy. This is Amy's deal. Amy, are you here? I thought I saw your comments in here. Maybe not. Okay, Amy, I'm going to look at this deal here. Cherokee County, North Carolina. Nice. Let's look at that real quick here. Cherokee County, North Carolina. Oh, it's down by Georgia. All right. Let's look at, I just want to see kind of what the market is right now, right? So there's 653 vacant lots for sale. Look at solds in the last 3 months. 114, that's good. Beautiful country. Let's look at this property here. So I have some GPS coordinates. Nice. Thank you. Make my job so much easier. 1.11 acres. So you offered 6,600. You think you could sell it for 25 grand. All right, let's check it out. Let's go to Regrid. Let's just search for that. You know what? I'm going to do, so I know this is hilly because it's in North Carolina. Let's see if the 3D rendering works for this. No, the big problem with Regrid I see right now is it doesn't give you 3D. And I don't know, unless I'm looking at it wrong. I mean, layers, satellite. I don't know how to get 3D images of that. So let's look at it on Land ID. ID.land. I like this. North Carolina, get started. You can also do this in Google Maps, right? There's a property on Google Maps. Click on satellite. Ooh, there's a fire there. Click on 3D. Let's go here. So there's our property, right? Let's zoom in. Click 3D. And you can kind of look around here a little bit, see what the terrain is like. You can see what other kind of houses are built and where. Top of the hills. You know, there's a property built there, kind of on a hill maybe. So you could probably build something at the bottom or at the top. Just kind of thinking. You can see the views, beautiful views. Wow, nice. Right? Okay. Let's see if there's any Google Street Views in the area. Nope. Let's zoom out a little bit. No Google Street Views in the area. That could be a good thing. Okay, so let's back here. Let's look for latitude, longitude. I'll paste those GPS coordinates in there. Okay, 1.11 acres. They bought it in 2009 for $7,500. You guys see that? Okay, now let's click 3D here. This will give you sometimes even more realistic photo than Google Maps. There's the property right there, right? So I think this looks good. You would probably build something down here along this road, right? I don't know why this is actually more detailed in a lot of ways than Google Earth, Google Maps. But look at the views. Yeah, great views, right? Reminds me a little bit of West Virginia. This is cool. All right, so I like this area. I think I like this property. So the property is going to be built probably along this road. Definitely has road access, right? Do we need to worry about floodplains or wetlands in this area? No. But if you wanted to, you could look here for that. All right, so I need to now look this property up on Zillow or Redfin. But I don't have an address for the property. It's just Trellis Circle. But I can get an address of this property right here. Okay. I'm going to copy that address. Let's just look it up on Redfin. Now, this is a property that's off market. Sometimes you can go here and see if there's an HOA. Beaver Dam Vineyards. It was a short sale at one time. Sometimes you can see, you know, if you go here to, this is the property right next door. It sold in 2011 for $140,000. But what I'm looking at is to see what other HOAs in the area maybe. The other thing is sometimes Zillow gives you more information as well. I'm going to X out of here. And all I'm doing here, let me reset my filter here. So I'm just looking at all properties. Sometimes what I'm looking for is what are some other, this is homes, houses, everything. I've reset my filters. What else is currently for sale here in that neighborhood, if anything? All right, nothing. Except this one. This is a house. Is it the same subdivision? I don't know. I doubt it. Let's look at solds. Here's a property in that subdivision probably that's sold for $410,022. Okay, so this is a house in the same community along this drive here, right? So this will tell me if it's in an HOA or not. And this tells me the kind of houses that are built here. This was sold 2 years ago, right? You can see it was built on top of a hill. Beautiful area. All right, let's look at, see if there's any information about HOAs. I don't see anything. Let's do a search for the word HOA. Doesn't say anything about HOAs. Doesn't mean there isn't one, but it makes a big deal because this might mean it's a unrestricted area. You can, I don't know. Okay, so here is that neighbor's property right there, right? So I'm going to click on this. Wow, look at that. Redesign your home with AI. What is that going to do? Oh, never mind. Sorry. Play with that later. Click on the map, and now I'm going to click on nearby homes for sale. And it's going to put that property of mine right in the center of this map. Now I'm going to go here and look at actives, pendings. I want to do land only. Now ours is 1 acre, 1.11 acres. So let's just do lot size, half acre to 5 acres. I don't need a real tight parameters. Let's zoom out. No results. Let's zoom out again. One property right now that's active. Similar size for $49.9. And it's on a vineyard. Interesting. I'll zoom out one more time. So now we've got 6 properties. I'm going to sort from high to low. I was going to look for any outliers, exclude the big ones, expensive ones. So here we go. Now, here's some real cheap big properties for sale for $30. You got to ask yourself, what's the difference between these? Maybe these are like more rural, more off the grid. That's why they're so cheap. So you might exclude these, but you have to think about why these have been on the market 888 days. Unrestricted. Off private rural road. Why haven't these sold yet? Owner is paying for new survey soon. There might be something wrong with this. Needs a new survey. Owner says there's a spring at the top. So this has been on the market for 2 or 3 years. I don't know what's going on. You might just want to ignore these 2 comps. Here's what I'm saying. Well, this one's been on the MLS for a year. New plat, awesome mountain views. Unrestricted. No gate on the property, nor access road. You have to build your own road off Horton Road. So this is maybe why these haven't sold yet, because there's no easy access. Which sometimes is a good thing. But, yeah, I don't know. Well, these are my 2 best comps right here. 49.9, 49.9. Similar properties. They're in, nicer areas, kind of in a subdivision. There is a $50 HOA fee in these properties here. All right, so let's do the pebble thing, and I'm going to exclude these kind of, maybe not. Let's do the pebble scraper tool. Yeah, see, those 2 properties right now are like $8,000 an acre, and everything else is like $40,000 an acre. So I'm going to exclude those. But now that means I want more. I only have, if I exclude those, I want more comps. You know what I'm going to do to exclude them? I'm just going to go max 3 acres. 0.5 to 3 acres. Oh, now look what we got here. All right, so I have 10 comps. Actives, right? Actives and pendings. Pebble scraper tool. We're looking at $29,300 an acre. $29,300 an acre. Ours is 1.1 acres. So maybe if I discount the active listings 15%, it might be worth $27,000. Let's just hold that number. Let's look at solds in the last 3 months. How many solds in the last 3 months? Ooh, not that many. And I might do, let's do a max price of $100,000. FreedomSoft Rob Swanson's calling me right now. And I will tell him I'll call him right back. Because they got land data in FreedomSoft, which is super cool. All right, so nothing's sold in the last 3 months, 6 months. Okay, yikes. Look at that. Last year, I want as many cheap comps as I can get, so I'm going to go back a year because I want all the cheap ones. All right, so let me sort this from high to low and see if I want to exclude any of them. No. All right, so low to high. Let's do the Pebble Scraper tool thing. I'm going to remove some of the big outliers. I got about $10,081 an acre. $10,081 an acre. All right, so maybe it's worth $11,000 to $27,000. Now you kind of like, oh man, what am I going to offer? I don't know, but what could I sell it for? Let's go back to actives. What can I sell it for? This one's been on the market, 1.28 acres for 26 grand. How long has it been on the market? 225 days. This is river. It's on a river. It's got creek access maybe. 2.4 acres for 37.8. So this is what you're looking at, right? Like, what could I sell this for? Now, Amy thinks she could maybe sell it for 25. You might be right. Look into active comps here, right? These are just actives and pendings. Huh. You know, I don't know. What if we just picked a number in the middle and we sell it for $19,000? $19,500. I like that price because I'm getting it right below that $20,000 threshold. I want to make a $10,000 profit. I'm going to pay a realtor 10% commissions. I might have an oops factor. This is North Carolina, right? I know I should know that because we were just looking at it. Ding-a-ling. Yes. So it's an attorney state. You're going to have a little bit higher closing costs. I might offer $4 grand. And, oh, she offered $6,600. I think you might be all right. So Amy offered $6,600. I would probably offer $4,000. So you're only talking about $2,000 difference here. But the cool thing, Amy, is you've got 90 days to close. Okay. And you showed me this contract that you sent and they signed it May 14th, which today? All right. So you just got this signed today. All right, and you've got the contract says here you have 90 days to close and you can extend it an additional 30 days if you want. All right, so the first thing you need to do, Amy, because I don't know if you're going to, if you sell it for 25 grand, let's look at this here. If you buy it for 6,600 and you sell it for 25 grand, you pay a realtor 10%, you have 2,000 closing costs, take photos. Let's say you don't use any private money and you have maybe $500 miscellaneous cost. You'll make about a $12,900 profit on this thing. All right, let's say you sell it for $19,500, you're still going to make $7,950 profit on this. Pretty stinking good. If you sell it with seller financing, I bet you could sell it for maybe $25,000 of seller financing, 12%, 5 years. You're going to get $528 a month on that. If you you're going to be all in the deal for about $11,000. That includes commissions, realtor commissions. If you use a realtor to sell it with seller financing, closing costs, pictures, and everything. Your first year cash on cash return is a stinking good 66%. Your annualized return is about 35 to 40% annualized return on your money if you sell it with seller financing, which would be my suggestion. My suggestion, Amy, sell it with owner financing. Now, you've got 3 months to close. So you're going to need to put it out there on the market and let the market tell you what it's worth. Could you sell it for $25,000? Maybe. I don't know. Don't know. You're going to let the market tell you what you could. So what I would do if I were you is I would call this realtor right now of this pending listing. Look up Ted Schmidt and call him and tell him, hey, I'm an investor. There's a phone number right there. Or look here. There's a cell phone number. Okay. Call Ted and say, hey, I'm an investor. I'm thinking about buying some land near a property that you currently have pending. And I don't know what to do with it yet. I'm thinking about buying it, maybe flipping it. I might sell it with seller financing. I might just buy it and then turn around and flip it and sell it for cash. I don't know yet, but I'm wondering if you have any buyers that might be interested, because I'll pay you commissions if you can bring me a buyer. I'll pay you 10% commissions. So I would call these pendings, if there's any pendings here. And then next I would go to the solds in the last year. And I would call this, if it's black picture, gray, it was listed, it was sold from county records. If there's a picture, it was sold from the MLS. So then I would call Falcon Morris right here and have the same conversation with Falcon. First of all, ask her, wow, I thought it was a guy. How'd you get that cool name? And just tell her what it is you're doing. Where were we here? Okay. Then call that the same. Let's call this agent here. Hey, I see you sold recently a 1.2 acre lot for 12 grand. I would call Thomas Nichols. The listing agent and the buyer's agent are the same, but call them and say, so what I'm thinking of doing, I'll pay a realtor 10% commissions if you have a buyer that might be interested. And so they're going to tell you, they'll go look at it. They know the area. They might tell you, yeah, you know what? I think you can maybe sell it for 15. You're going to get some good feedback. The realtors are going to tell you what they think you can sell it for. And then you need to make the decision. If they tell you, where I think you can sell it for 20 to 30 grand, you want to be conservative. You want to list it at their lowest price, maybe even less. You say, listen, I want to price this aggressively. I want to sell it in 1 or 2 months. What do you think it would take? So if you bring this deal to a funding company to fund, they're going to want to know what do realtors say, what do they think you could sell this for? So I would call every one of these agents. Call at least 10 agents and talk to them all and see what they think you could sell it for. And when you're approaching these conversations with these realtors, don't tell them you're a wholesaler and you're trying to flip it before you buy it. Just tell them, hey, I'm thinking about buying it, and I'm willing to pay any realtor that can bring me a buyer 10% commissions. And I want to know what you think. The next thing I would do is I would go to Regrid. I would find out who are all of the investors. Let's just look right. This is the property we were looking at. No. Maybe it is. I forget. Here we go. Let me put that. Yeah, okay, so that's a property right there. So I would zoom out a little bit. Let me make this flat. All right. There is a way in here you can draw a radius, and I would call all the neighbors and see if they're interested in buying it. And I would also then, this property is in zip code 28906, right? So you could go into PropStream. I wonder if InvestorBase, you can search by zip code. No, you have to you have to put in an address. All right, but anyway, if we go into PropStream and put that zip code here, you can go to filter, quick lists, vacant land, owner occupied, no, property characteristics, ownership info. They bought it in the last 6 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They bought something since November 1. And they own at least 5 other properties. Cool, look at that. So there's 81 different properties that have sold in the last 6 months to an absentee owner. I would download this list and I would send them that motivated, I'm a desperate seller yellow letter. Let's look at this first one. Somebody out of Marble, North Carolina bought this one. They own 7 other properties. They bought it 2 months ago with cash. They paid 15 grand. I would call them and send them a letter. Who's this guy? Cabins and Coves. They own 12 properties. They bought it for 18 grand. So I would call them and send them a desperate motivated seller yellow letter. This is just printing money here, guys. You can see who these buyers are. Call them all. So number one, call all the realtors who have sold land there, get their opinion about what the deal is. Don't tell them you're a wholesaler and you're going to try to sell it before you buy it. Just tell them, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm thinking about buying it. I may just flip it. I may sell it with seller financing. But I'm going to pay generous commissions to a realtor that can help me bring me a buyer. You don't have to even list it. Just bring me a buyer. And then I would skip trace and call all of these guys. Let's look at investor base. Let's put that property up here. Oops. Three-mile radius in the last year. This is that neighbor's property, but ours is in that same neighborhood. Oh, I'm thirsty and I'm out of coffee and I'm out of water. No results found. What? So this is pretty rural. This is, this might be a harder deal to find. Let's do search 10 miles. 10-mile radius. Investorbase.com. Okay, so we got a lot more now. Cool. And we're looking at just land. You know what? You could even call land and single families. Why not, right? And these are everybody that have bought and or flipped vacant land in the area. And you got all their names and phone numbers right here, baby. Here, table view. Pick up the phone. Start calling them. This is pretty cool. The more I'm looking into investor base, the more I like it. I just wish they had information. I want the address of Lauren Dockery. And they can add this in, but we're working on it. Okay. Appreciate you guys. We need to wrap this up. We'll see y'all later. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Let me know what you think. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to my channel. I haven't released a new video in about a couple weeks, but I am working on it. I need to hire a new video editor. But if you're watching this on Facebook, comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought of this. If you have any questions. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you all. We'll see you. Bye-bye.